Welcome to Third Wave Business Systems Advanced Productivity Pack Customizer Basic Mandatory Fields Demo. My name is Dennis Tucker. I'm the Development Manager at Third Wave, and today I'll be showing you how to set warnings or mandatory field requirements on fields for SAP Business One forms. APP Customizer Mandatory Fields functionality allows you to put restrictive data entry qualifications on fields on SAP Business One forms. These forms can be standard SAP Business One forms, forms associated with user-defined objects, or forms for add-ons that were created in the SAP SDK user interface. To specify the mandatory fields for a form, simply right-click anywhere on the form, go to the APP Customizer menu, Mandatory Fields, and Set Mandatory Fields option. You'll be prompted with a message box telling you now to click on any fields that you would like to determine are mandatory. Please note that when selecting controls to be included as mandatory fields, the user is not able to click across tabs to select controls. However, if you notice the unique ID of the controls that you would like to be included as mandatory fields on alternate tabs, those controls can be added manually later on the configuration screen. For this example, I'll click on the customer PO number field. That's the only field that I'd like to make mandatory, so again I'll right-click, go to APP Customizer, Mandatory Fields, and set Mandatory Fields Done menu option. The Mandatory Fields configuration screen will automatically load, and you can see the customer PO number field has been included as a mandatory field for the sales order form. For the first part of this demonstration, I'm going to make the requirement a warning only, so I'll click the warning only checkbox. The configuration screen also allows you to set other parts of the mandatory field requirement, such as whether it's going to be executed during add or update. It also lets you set a color to identify on the form that the field is mandatory by APP Customizer. I'll click OK on the configuration screen. I'll close and reopen the sales order form. And you'll notice now that my customer PO number field is identified in light green, the color that I chose on the configuration screen. I'll enter a customer code, put in a delivery date, pick an item for my sales order, and I've now completed the minimum requirements for an SAP sales order. When I try to add the document, I get a message box identifying that the mandatory field of customer PO number hasn't been completed and prompted as to whether or not I would like to continue. Since this is a warning only, I can simply select the yes option, and then it will add the sales order to the system even though the required field was not completed. To make this a hard stop instead of a warning, I'll right-click, go to the APP Customizer menu, Mandatory Fields, and Mandatory Settings Configurator option. I'll select my mandatory field setting, click the Edit button. When the configuration screen loads, I'll simply uncheck the Warning Only checkbox and click OK. I'll return to the sales order screen, I'll reload it, and I'll begin entering information for a brand new sales order. Again, I'll complete the customer code, the delivery date, and I'll pick an item for my sales order. This time, when I try to add the sales order into the system, it will not be successful because of the missing customer PO number value. Next, I'll be demonstrating two tricks in one: how to add mandatory fields to lines on a marketing document, and how to add mandatory fields to a drop-down or combo box field. For this demonstration, I'm actually going to use the reason field, which is a user-defined field on this marketing document. As you can see, the field has several different options, including a blank option, which we are going to utilize as a value to specify that the field has not been completed. We'll right-click on the APP Customizer menu and bring up the Mandatory Fields configuration screen and edit the mandatory field settings. I'm going to click Add to add a new row to our mandatory fields and put in the unique ID for the grid on the sales order screen, enter the column value, which is U_reason, and leave the empty value blank to denote the empty combo box selection. I'll also click the Ignore Last Row because we're in the line item of a document, and I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Once again, I'll close and reopen my sales order form and begin entering the information for my sales order: customer code, delivery date. I'm going to actually enter a customer PO number this time so that won't trip the mandatory fields problem. And I'll enter an item on the line of the sales order, but not complete the reason code field. When I attempt to add the sales order, I'll be prompted on the SAP status bar with an error message indicating that the reason code was not completed. If there's ever a need to disable a mandatory field setting without removing it, that can be accomplished through the mandatory fields configuration screen. If you bring up the configuration screen and click the edit button next to the mandatory fields you'd like to edit, you can simply uncheck the active checkbox in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen and save that. That will disable the mandatory fields without removing them so that they can be re-enabled at a future time. It's also possible to set mandatory fields and make them user-specific. Clicking the button to the right of the applicable users field will bring up the screen that will allow you to select people either by individual user, branch, or department. Simply select the IDs of the people that you would like the mandatory fields to apply to, or if you'd like to exclude specific users, select those users and then select the Exclude Selected Options checkbox on the screen. If you'd like to copy your mandatory field settings to a similar form in SAP Business One, you can do so through the Copy To button on the configuration screen. Simply select the mandatory fields configuration that you'd like to copy to the other form, click the Copy To button, and select the form that you would like to copy the configuration to. For this demonstration, I'll be copying it to the purchase order form. Click the OK button, and your mandatory settings will be copied to the target form. This completes our basic demonstration of mandatory fields functionality in APP Customizer. For more information on ThirdWave's Advanced Productivity Pack or any of the other applications that ThirdWave offers, please visit our website at www.twbs.com. You can click the Contact Us link in the upper right corner of the page. Existing ThirdWave partners and customers can obtain more information through the support portal by clicking the Customer Support link in the upper right corner of the page. Thank you for your time and attention.